Well, let's bring you back to that developing story this evening, and that is that Israel has hit inside of Qatar in Doha. It says that it has targeted Hamas's leadership team, the team that was there negotiating a ceasefire agreement. Hamas say 6 people were killed in the strike, but they say that their leadership team has survived. We're trying to verify that statement, but let's cross live now to Daniel Levy, who's president of the US Middle East Project. And you've also worked, Daniel, as a negotiator and advisor for previous Israeli prime ministers. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, what do you make of this latest move by Israel?
Well, it's all a bit too transparent, isn't it, Mariam? You kill the people you're supposed to be negotiating with when there's a new negotiating proposal that's on the table that they are discussing, and you do so in the sovereign territory of the country that's mediating and where your negotiating team has been going back and forth from. If there remained any iota of doubt as to the intentionality of this Israeli government, whose eyes are not towards a negotiated outcome, then this has removed it. Israel is intent on continuing the mass killing, displacement, ethnic cleansing, and genocidal actions that it is taking against the Palestinians in Gaza, the displacement, destruction, and attempt to further pull the West Bank territory into being part of Israel. And it has just sent a very clear signal to Qatar, but it has apparently done so with the backing of the United States. And it seems that President Trump has bought into this idea, farcical and fantastical as it is, that if we just up the pressure more and kill a few more of the Hamas leadership, then something that hasn't happened for almost 2 years now will eventually happen. Unfortunately, that says more about the current US leadership than it does about any prospect for a breakthrough.
And of course, we've heard this evening from the hostage families who are desperately worried now about what this means for those hostages still alive inside Gaza.
And of course, that concern is palpably real. They know, most of those families, that their prime minister is indifferent to the fate of their loved ones who are being held. But I actually think, Mariam, that in most respects, this has less to do with what Israel is pursuing in Gaza and against the Palestinians more broadly, because it is going ahead with that anyway. I actually think this was a regional signal. I think this would not have taken place without a premeditated decision to go after Qatari sovereign territory and to send this message that Israel is the regional hegemon and it will assert itself militarily wherever it likes, unless and until there is a capacity to contain or deter it. And I think many people are looking at this and saying, wait a minute, isn't Qatar also an American ally? Doesn't it host the US largest base there, the Al Udeid Air Base? What's going on here? And I think the US is sending the message. What is the point in being our ally? We can't control, or we refuse, more accurately, to control Israel. It may be that you spoke earlier to a delusional Secretary General of NATO who thinks this is going to end up okay for Europe when it comes to this administration. I don't think that's the case. And it poses the question, who is going to contain Israel? And I think an awful lot of heads are being scratched in the Middle East, West Asia region today when they're saying, wait a minute, coming to a neighborhood near me, Israel is apparently trying to suggest it can act with impunity. Thus far, it's a gamble that has succeeded for Prime Minister Netanyahu. I don't think this ultimately plays out well for him, because this looks like overreach and hubris to me.
Daniel, thank you very much indeed. Daniel Levy there talking to us. And of course, we are bringing the updates as and when we get them here on BBC News. And let me just direct you to the BBC's live page. If you are stepping away from the television and you want to read more information about what's happening and all the very latest lines and analysis, you can see there at the top of the page, there is analysis from our security correspondent, Frank Gardner. The Qataris are furious and may have hard questions for Washington. We heard from Frank on the programme just a few minutes ago. You can also see photos of the immediate aftermath of the attack and the badly damaged building in the north of the city, in the north of Doha. Now, we have heard from the Qatari government. They have called this a blatant violation of international law. We've also had condemnation from various countries, including France and Germany. We are trying to bring together all the reaction as and when we get it here on The World Today on BBC News. We're going to take a very short break and we'll be back with the very latest in a few minutes' time. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere.